Okay. I should be louder than the music now. I had the music full blast because I was doing some editing earlier. So let's try this again. I had it on random. This is the first song that popped up, so you're getting Phantasmagoria from the Cold Steel 1. This is the rating video for FF16. 12 sessions of hell, no cheats. It's plus 18 to... Final score was plus 18 to story, plus 19 to gameplay. This is a game, and you might feel like that's a contradiction in terms, because as I am saying something is good, and I'm saying something was good, but it still, it scored, was hell, but it scored good. Well, that's because FF16 is not a bad game, it's just a game I will never touch again. But we should get into why I feel it is good, regardless of all the crap that I feel it pulls. A lot of these are presentation positives, so let's get started. First of all, sprite work. For those that don't know me, I count sprite work as character models. Do I feel like the character models are detailed in a way that actually works, right? Do the characters look cool? Do they have, is there a bit of personality to their designs? Stuff like that. For example, Reen in Cold Steel 3. That's the video I just finished editing, so that's why it's on my mind. Reen's white coat in Cold Steel 3 kind of shows the aesthetic of it, right? Even something as simple as hairstyle can actually go ahead and tell you quite a bit about a character. And that's why I like to give credit where it's due, right? It's not just 2D sprites. 3D models can look cool too, Oh, and I feel like that should be acknowledged a little bit more often in Lore's reviews than it is. So, this game definitely qualifies for that. I gave a plus to visual storytelling. I gave a triple positive to the animations, because weirdly enough, the animations were really good in this one, and so shockingly good. So, yeah, I was all for it. Ditto the doodad usage and the brickwork. Eric, I actually felt, again, the presentation is excellent in this game. There's details all over the place, and it's really, really helps enrich things. Next up, good background lore. There's a lot of details in the background that are actually really well done, and I really appreciate them. Okay, good. I'm recording, not streaming. I'm paranoid about that kind of crap all of a sudden. So yeah, background lore, and it was also helped of the Echoes of the Fallen DLC, because a lot of the background lore in that extra dungeon is actually pretty cool. World building was complemented by the DLC as well. Then there's the voice acting. Look, I may hate this story, but the voice acting was exquisite throughout, and I will not deny this game that. Triple positive. And I also gave a positive to the voice direction. Voice direction is usually a lot harder to get out of me than voice acting. Voice acting, I know what I like in my voice acting, and there you go, The dialogue was also a triple positive. I really like the dialogue in this one. But I just wish what was being said was as good as how it's being said. I went ahead and gave banter and NPC chatter a positive. NPC chatter is like NPCs talking, and banter is the party interacting with each other. That's usually how I define that, right? Because again, the party interacting with each other is different from just the random NPCs that you go and you talk to, right? Excuse me. Random NPCs will have different, flavors of how their dialogue goes than the party interacting with each other, right? I like to acknowledge that. Music direction was a triple positive because, Jesus Christ, the music was just so well used. I didn't care about the music itself, but the way the music is used, mwah, beautiful. Gameplay story integration was a single positive, as was the pacing. I gave a positive to the storyboarding and the use of consequence storytelling. I also gave, this is a storytelling mechanic, I gave active time lore a triple positive because it was really, really good. Also, the localization, I feel, is exquisite this time around. Honestly, that old English dialect, the Shakespearean type dialect, usually does it for me, So, triple positive to the localization. I gave the aesthetics of the icons as a positive. I just think the color palette could have been a bit better, Also, it's helped by the fact that the icon battles themselves are just awesome spectacle. So yeah. I like dominance as a concept. And that is it. 40 positives on presentation alone. I don't know if that's a record, but cause it's probably not with some of the Trails. With some Trails games, I'd have to look at Daybreak, but I'd have to relook at Daybreak's thing. But yeah, that's impressive. Especially for a game that I literally say I don't like, and I don't. But yeah. I went ahead and gave Clive a positive, but I gave Ben Starr's performance as Clive in the English version a triple positive because, oh my god, Ben Starr is acting his fucking heart out in this game. Jesus Christ. Ben Starr is awesome. And then I really enjoyed Joshua. I ended up giving him 2 positives. I would have given him 3 if his relevance to the story was more abundant before the Bahamut boss fight. Would have been nice to have some Princess Peach sections shifting over to him. Then there's Jill. Jill eventually becomes a character that I like, even if it does take a bit. And while I disagree with the lore runner about her being like Penelo was in 12 and having no real relevance, yeah, I can at least see why he thinks that. When her character's on point, though, I honestly feel like she is a good complement to Clive's character. Like, those two being romantically involved makes perfect sense to me. She is the anchor to him, right? And they've been through a lot of crap together. Even if it does bring one specific fan art image I saw a really long time ago, involving the Final Fantasy X versions of Avery and Shiva. And I'm just going to shut the fuck up and move on before I put my foot any further in my mouth. Torgal. Okay. Torgal. Torgal's the dog. Is Clive's dog. And he's fucking awesome. Not only is I'm pretty sure he is meant to be a wolf, so obviously, right? Hi, I'm Blue Wolf Alex. So in case you require the subtlety of a sledgehammer of why Torgal being a wolf would appeal to me. But anyways, he may be a dog, but he is weirdly well characterized with his loyalty to Clive. I mean, those two meet again 13 years later, and Torgal is just like, "It's you. Yes, I'm back to being your loyal dog." And on the subject of loyalty, there's the second positive I gave Torgal. Look, he took a licking from a Garuda-powered Benedicta, recovered from that, and continued to fight. That is freaking loyalty right there. You can call it animal instinct all you fucking want. That instinct should have told Torgal to run the fuck away. And Torgal stood his fucking ground, got injured, finally recovered from that, and then was like... And you could just hear Chris Evans' voice come out of Torgal's mouth. "I could do this all day." Oh, and then when Torgal's powers as Fenrir awakened... Yeah! That was just damn awesome. And my reaction said it all. It was right the hell out of nowhere, but I sure as fuck wasn't complaining. I was just like, what? But, huh? Like, I literally for a solid minute was just like processing that, like, what? I obviously leaned on it being awesome, but it was still like, huh? So, for what little presence he had, I liked Elwyn. Wade, he just continued to be a bro throughout the entire thing. Let's see. And then there's the best character of the entire game, Sid. I mean, for those that have played 16, you shouldn't need me to say this, but... Now, granted, I'm a bit of an easy lay when it comes to badass characters, okay? So, how do they introduce Sid? Clive basically puts a sword basically to his throat. Sid just doesn't even flinch and is just like, yeah, let's get your girl to safety first, and then we can worry about hashing this out later. He doesn't even flinch, and that's so awesome. And then there was the whole thing of, we need to regroup. Gav, you go and, you track Benedicta. He's competent. His competence is really what that second positive is all about. And then, of course, he just throughout his entire presence in the story, he just continues to be a bro. Oh, and him being a bro and him being competent just continue, and duh, right? Also, Ralph and Neeson, who I don't actually know from a lot of stuff, admittedly, but he does a fantastic job. I do recognize his voice, I just don't know from where, so please forgive me. Hey, if you know any Ralph and Neeson performances that you think are noteworthy, comment them down below. Oh, I would love to hear them. If there's any in particular, because hey, expand my palette, right? Then there's Goots. Goots is interesting. It is actually very, very interesting. Which is funny because a large portion of the side characters actually were pretty interesting when I actually wanted to bother going into their stories, right? And Goots was right up there. Goots is loyal to, I wrote her name down, to Karen, to Nan, right? And it's very, very... I like that Goots is... He's portrayed as one of those lesser intelligent kind of characters. But what's funny is that doesn't mean he's stupid. He's just not the sharpest tool in the shed. you know? Think of it this way. I'll put it to you this way. Okay, here. I'll put it to you like this. He's not the sharpest sword in the armory. Okay? But, that's the sharpest axe in the shed. But that axe will still chop down a tree, if you understand the distinction there. Just trying to think of how to play it, right? Then there's Gav, speaking of. Dude is a bro through and through. Triple positive for him. Holy crap. And then Karen and Blackthorn were interesting. Especially Blackthorn, who, he seems one note on the surface, but if you dig into his side quests like I did, hot damn, you know? Then there's the Dame. That was the lady that ran the, I forget the name of it, there's no nice way to say this, the brothel, you know? She was awesome. You know, and actually cared about her employees. Go figure. I liked Prince Dion. He was pretty cool. He's tragic in the sense that he loses his empire while trying to save it, which is, you know, not helped by the fact that his dad believes a whore more than him. But, what can you do? Oh. I really have no fucking love for her. I forget her fucking name. I suppose we'll find out in the I'll be reminded in the negatives, because I'm pretty sure I gave her a negative. In the meantime, let's talk about the fact that I gave Byron 2 positives. I really like him. He was kind of the comic relief, you know, the funny uncle. And I absolutely loved that. I'm pretty sure I gave it a positive further down the line because we're in the character section. But I love the fact that he's convinced that this is Clive through Clive's acting, and the bit where he believes Clive because Clive has always sucked ass at lying. That made me laugh because it was so perfect. It was just perfect, you know. That's how I would want, that's how I would want people to believe me. I believe you, Alex. Why? Why do you believe him? Because he sucks ass at lying. Are you kidding me? So that's it for the characters. 28 character positives. Not bad. Now let's get into more of the moments and the stories, the narrative stuff. The entire Phoenix Gate section during the prologue. Oh my god, that was such a wonderful tone shift. Good stuff. Triple positive there. I also gave the intro in general a triple positive because in my blunt opinion, this is one of the better intros I have seen, because it really does set the tones, establish the characters, and do so very quickly and very efficiently. Just bam, 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 bam. And it's also helped by the active time lore helping to fill in the gaps. By the way, active time lore is not required. It is literally just flavor text. Oh, and if you miss any of it, well, that's what Hippocrates is for. You know? I like the Hideaway as an interesting story beat to show off his character. I loved Ramu knocking Ifrit out. No, just settle down, poof. That was awesome. And we're jumping really far ahead. Sid's death was 2 positives. I really like just everything about it. Just everything about it. I also gave a positive to Joshua holding Ultima off. I feel like that was a great scene. And then I knew I gave it, and it was apparently a double. I love the way Clive convinces Byron of who he is. 2 positives. I also like, there's a heart-to-heart you can get. You're gathering some kind of thing, and you can choose who to bring with you. And when you select Gav, their heart-to-heart is actually really, really cool. Then there's the moment. Then there's the hey, let's do this moment of Clive turning into Ifrit against Muhammad. That was cool. Yeah, we jumped that far ahead. Then there's the heart-to-heart scene where Jill gives Clive the power of Shiva. This is really good because it is beautiful, and in my opinion, it's the only time nudity has been used properly, within the story, right? It's not, because honestly, nudity is just kind of a have some man ass, or hey, here's a naked lady on screen, right? Obviously, we can't show the boobs because there's reasons, but it's like, it really feels like they're just being juvenile most of the time. Not so with Clive and Jill, because them being naked is symbolic of them finally fully opening up to each other. Fully. That's good. Then there's Clive and Joshua's heart-to-heart, and the optional heart-to-heart that ends the side quest Priceless. So, cool. The Clive and Joshua heart-to-heart is at their father's grave, by the way. Then here's the Echoes of the Fallen DLC being fascinating in its implications with the Duck Crystals. Oh my god. Oh my god. I thought we were done with what the fuck past Alex. God damn it. With the Dark Crystals. Actually, I think that's supposed to say Dusk Crystals. Pretty sure they're called the Dusk Crystals. Oh my god. I hate this. Anyways. Then there's Mysidia, which I actually kind of like, from the DLC. The side quest, The Uninvited Guest. This was a great little romp of a fool in love, and the serious issues of him showing up, that him showing up causes for Mysidia. And as much shit as I give this game, and I will be giving it a lot of shit, make no mistake, like 90 negatives worth, Joshua's death was a triple positive. And I did like the final story beat, the final battles as a story beat. I felt like they were appropriately epic. And then there's Clive's final flashbacks with Joshua, which are just a wonderful, bittersweet send-off for the character. 98 story positives all over the place. But we got a lot of the story negatives to get through. Oh god, let's get into it. The Dark Tone ended up being a triple negative. I understand that that's the point. But to be blunt, and as I was constantly bitching about on stream, I fucking hate how dark FF16 is. I do. I absolutely despise how dark FF16 is, as it feels like there is no hope. And I'm sorry, I don't like stories about a world where there is no fucking hope. To me, it's just depressing. And I don't like depressing, I do not suffer from depression, at least as far as I know. No, I've never actually been tested for depression, so I could have it and not know. But I do know I have ADHD, which is unrelated. But yeah, no, I don't like the Dark Tone. It kept pissing me off. Triple negative. And then in keeping with my bitching about the Dark Tone, there's the fact that the Dark Tone slams my to real button on way too many occasions. The attack on East Pool effectively being where I finally just was like, no. Also, related to the above of negatives, I got really sick of the treatment of bearers in the first half. It was like, we get it, everybody's a fucking asshole. Everybody are fucking assholes to bearers. Ugh. It's the same problem I had with the racism overload in frickin' Tales of Arise. Oh, and then it's a plot point that is mostly forgotten. Yeah. Then there's the hopelessness of the world, which got its own triple negative. Ugh, look, I know a lot of people see gold in that this is a story about a world with no hope, but I mean, your golden turd is nice, but I can't help but notice it's in the shape of a turd, you know? Then there's the side quests. Yes. I feel like the side quests are basically just white noise, at least for the most part. I feel like the side quests basically have two flavors for me. Boring, or they piss me right the fuck off because of their content. There's so many of the side quests are just not that engaging to me, or rely on characters being fucking assholes, and I kind of don't like that. So it was a triple negative for me. I don't like basically any of the side quests outside the DLC, basically. I think there's a couple of exceptions, but that's it, you know? It's not rampant, but there was enough empty text issues for me to warrant a negative. The padding in this thing. Oh, God. Okay, so there are several times where I feel like the story is padded to hell. To the point where I gave it a triple negative. I hate how padded this story feels. Hate it. Which also led to a negative for the pacing. And I also really don't like how the story is sequenced. So I gave a triple negative for story sequencing. Only 20 presentation negatives. So, make of that what you will. Now let's get into the characters. Oh, no, actually. I'm wrong. There's still some more presentation negatives. Sorry. Because there's the use of Vivian in the story, which is a triple negative, because she literally just comes in to be an exposition machine. That is such a fucking waste of character. Then there's the fact that Jill is sidelined way too fucking much. Sometimes it makes sense. Most of the time it's just bullshit, and frankly, this is the same kind of complaint I was harboring at Trails Through Daybreak, and yelling, "What the fuck are you doing?" at it when it came to Elaine in the final chapter. I will not elaborate further first spoil because of spoilers for that game. Then there's the fact that the villains are underdeveloped. There is some annoying cutscene incompetence at times. And I honestly think this plot is a double negative. So I apologize. It is 30 negatives on the presentation, which is just ugh. Now for a couple of negatives that nobody's going to agree with me on. I don't like how Benedicta is used in the plot. Her entire character just kind of bugged me. Vivian, I actually kind of felt like there was potential there, but with Benedicta, she always just kind of bugged me because it was so obnoxious, because she effectively exists solely to advance the stories of male characters, namely Sid, Clive, and Hojo. Or just Hojo, did I really say that? Hugo, excuse me. She dies with barely any characterization other than the fact that she sleeps with multiple men and literally is only kept in the plot after her death to advance Hugo's character, which is awful. I don't see what Laura saw in this fucking character at all. Moving on. Same with Hugo. I don't think Hugo worked in any capacity. As he has a similar problem to Benedicta in that he is nothing more than an angry brute that gets pissy when his or a girlfriend dies, and it's just there just isn't anything there. He's just a pissy jackass. And here's Clive's mother that I mentioned earlier. So you remember the whore I mentioned that Dion's father believed over him? Her name is Annabella. She is Clive and Joshua's mother, and she is an egotistical cunt that just... Yeah, I stewed on this one for a while. And her usage in the plot is what bothers me. She could have been an interesting character with more screen time, but there's literally... You know, like I had to push this to the back of my mind a lot, especially after she named her son, who ends up becoming a vessel for Ultima, our next character. Named her son Olivier. Go play Trails in the Sky 1 and 2 if you who want to know why that kind of irks me. Then there's Ultima. Ultima, for me, is the worst villain in the entire franchise. Bar none. He is the worst. For one very, 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 very simple reason. Ready for this? He's boring. He is supposed to be this dark god and yada yada yada, and his big flaw is supposed to be his hypocrisy, but it's fucking boring because his hypocrisy is so fucking obvious. A 5-year-old could figure it out. Like, are you fucking serious? Ugh. So, yeah, no. Triple negative for that jackass. I also ended up giving Emperor Silvestri a negative because he is thoroughly wasted and does nothing for the plot whatsoever other than existing and getting killed. And then there's Barnabas, which is another one that no one will agree with me on. And I kind of find him awful as a villain. I feel like he's just one note and there's no real depth. I mean, like, seriously, why does he worship Ultima so much? I feel like he's just there to be a foil for Clive, and honestly, he's not a very good one. Oh, and the narrative also kind of cheats with him, like, constantly. Instantly. So, 2 negatives for him. Which is funny because that means there's only 9 negatives for characters. So, okay, we're doing alright. Now let's get into the moments. I don't like the disconnect with Clive and the Phoenix versus Ifrit fight in the prologue. And it all stems from the fact that the Ifrit is Clive twist exists, you know? Then there's this whole self-loathing arc, which I just find annoying. Is it realistic? Yeah, but I just don't want to watch my main character mope. Because I feel like they only really did that once properly. Well, no, sorry, twice properly. Actually, what's funny is you could argue they only ever really did it once. But no, I would argue twice. Zack and Zidane. Then there's the whole Clive's inner world thing. Now, there are people who like this one, Lore Runner included. But I feel like if you reverse the Infernal icon and the Infernal Shadow around, I feel like it just would have worked better narratively, you know? Especially considering he comes to terms with what happened with Joshua and that tames Ifrit, only for him to then have to fight the Infernal Shadow more. I kind of hated it. Then there's the attack on the hideaway, which just feels wrong to me. It feels like something we should have learned about after the fact, rather than splicing it in between the Joshua scene right before it and the Constance scene right after it. Speaking of, let's get into the 5-year time skip, because I wrote an entire paragraph on why this time skip doesn't fucking work. So, there is a 5-year time skip. Oh boy, here we go. Alright, so first and foremost, the timing is shit on a stick. It feels like it skipped ahead to get on with it, or rather, to not deal with the consequences of Sid, Joshua, and the hideaway attack. Like, fucking seriously? Then there's the fact that nothing in the preceding scenes lent itself to needing a time skip, so that didn't help. Nope. And finally, I really don't think it changes anything narratively from what I know of the story. In fact, there are several side events from side quests that are actively ruined by the fact that it's a 5-year time skip. See also the A support between Dorothea and Ferdinand in Fire Emblem Three Houses. I hate that support so much. Then there's Jill being taken hostage by Hugo, which is just dumb. Triple negative there. I felt Annabella's death was just not satisfying for how much shit she wrought. The whole thing with Sid is its engine is just fluff and is honestly pretty boring. Oh, here's a point I made earlier about Barnabas. So we took down Bahamut, and Barnabas effortlessly defeats Clive. Yeah, no. Then there's Jill getting kidnapped again for absolutely zero reason, which in hindsight is a major benching, which is just, ugh. That just adds to the previous thing. I also feel like the entire Barnabas arc was just lame from a writing perspective. That was another triple negative there. Then there's Joshua misunderstanding Jill's gesture, which is kind of annoying as it is just there for fake drama that is resolved in literal fucking seconds. Then there's Ultima's story time, which was just boring exposition, and yeah, that was triple negative worthy for me. And there is also some nasty gameplay story segregation. There is some good integration, but there's also some nasty segregation. Namely, when you're ready to go for the end game. Right? Because the idea is, in lore, Ultima is building his power and we need to go stop it as soon as possible. And that's when a majority of the side quests pop up. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? That's side quest overload. It's ridiculous. Now, I know you could argue that it's dumb and say, like, the Cold Steels, but there's far fewer of them in the Cold Steels, and there's at least an element that kind of makes sense and ties into other things. So, no, here it's a triple negative. Then there's the DLCs being locked until the very end of the game, which is also just hampers the storytelling, so that was a triple negative. Then there's the Dalamil versus Akashic side quest, which is just dumb and an excuse for side characters to be assholes. Again, this time with rocks thrown at children. I didn't do this one on screen, but that's because I fucking hate this bullshit. So that was a triple negative. Then there's the Dust Crystal Sellers and the Echoes of the Fallen DLC, which just drags that down for me. And I also really don't understand why Ultima has to have narration when Leviathan goes out of control, as the rampage was set up already with Wallius this being a baby and all, and really feels like lazy writing for the writers, as the writers are so desperate to make Ultima threatening, in that they sacrifice good writing to do it. So, yeah, that was a triple negative there. I also absolutely hate this ending, to be frank. Like, the main story's ending is garbage, and I freaking hate it. I know they were trying to go for bittersweet, but it feels like it would have been better had we not had Clive on that beach. So, 2 negatives there. And also, yeah, I'm giving the outro a triple negative on the story, and I can sum it up in one word: Ultima. I now have a new floor when it comes to Final Fantasy villains, as he is boring, one-note, and actively spouts nonsensical, hypocritical bullshit. That is so blatantly hypocritical, egotistical bullshit that it's just frustrating. I was also wrong. There's only 80 with that one being, that triple positive being the last of it. Man, I've been going for 41 minutes already. Yeesh, this is going to take a while. Alright, gameplay positives now. Let's get into it. Good. I gave a positive to the options. If we were playing the PC version, I probably would have given 2 positives to the options like Lore did. I don't begrudge him. The options on the PC version are phenomenal. The autosaves are good, triple positive, and I gave the save system a positive because it is what I like to mentally think of as the Trails version. Just save anywhere, right? As long as you're not in combat, you can save wherever. Awesome. I did eventually give music a positive, and I gave the Yoshi drums 2 positives. The idea is when the song alters between, different situations. Named after Super Mario World and the added drums that happen when you hop onto Yoshi, right? That's when you hop on Yoshi and then the song adds the. I can't really do it very well, but you get the idea. So, active time lore is also good in gameplay. It allows you to read up on things relevant to that spot in the game, even in cutscenes. I ended up giving the core combat a triple positive, because I do feel like it works despite the numbers. Again, you pull those numbers down and this core combat is even better, I also enjoyed the combat animations. They were triple positive. I like the spell effects for the most part. I find the HUD is good. I love the icon abilities. They were triple positive. And then this is where I gave different icon sets positives. So there's Phoenix. It's Phoenix, Ramuth, Bahamut, which got 2, Shiva, which got 3, and Odin, that got 1. Phoenix was fun, and with Flames of Rebirth. Ramuth is just damn fun with all those good ranged attacks. Bahamut is powerful, though honestly there were some hang-ups with using that power. Still, based upon the power alone, that was 2 positives. Odin is fun if you don't have the combo ring on. And Shiva is so damn fun to use, it's insane. I love the fact that Clive's dodge, while he's got the Shiva powers equipped, it is literally to freeze these enemies. I should say the icon ability is to just sort of pseudo run past them and freeze them for a second. Oh, it's so much fun. I gave the difficulty curve a positive. I gave the power progression curve a positive. I gave info in game 2 positives. I gave the touchpad map a positive, because the world map can go fuck itself. I felt the tutorials and the gameplay, story integration, and the quality of life were all good. I like that potions are percentage based. I always love full heal on level up. It is such a good thing, and honestly, that is something that I feel like so many games could benefit from, you know? The respecking is triple positive worthy. The fast travel may be limited, but it is good. I love the mid-mission checkpoints. In Chaos actually doesn't agree with me on that one, but I love the mid-mission checkpoints. They are so awesome because they are mid-boss fight and they reload your potions, so you're never lost. An option to turn them off would be nice, though. Then there's the pseudo New Game Plus in the form of replaying stages. The difficulty options and the easy mode accessories are good. Those were a triple positive. The icon battles themselves were a triple positive. I liked having Ambrosia when you eventually unlock her. I like the quest design. I like being given the option to warp back to the quest giver when your task is done. That's actually a nice touch. That was a triple positive. I really like the intro marble fight. That was really good. I like the Dragoon, the Knight of Blinding Dawn in the intro. That was good. Good test to see. Hey, are you used to the combat yet? Well, you better get used to it. I like the Phoenix versus Ifrit fight from a gameplay perspective, and I gave the gameplay of the intro 2 positives. Fafnir of the North is a fierce foe, but he's fair. I also liked fighting Midnight Raven. Then there's the fight with Benedicta. Then the Ifrit versus Garuda fight, which was fun. And then I gave the Ifrit versus Typhon fight a triple positive. Good stuff. I also enjoyed fighting Liquid Flame, despite some of the bullshit that he threw at me. And then there's fighting Titan. When you finally actually get up to Titan, and not Hugo, he's fun as hell. I love fighting Titan. Round 1 was a single positive. Round 2, which was Titan lost. Oh, fuck. Heck, that was so good. And then there's round 3, which was just fun. But none of that compares to Bahamut. Freaking Bahamut. Now, normally I use caps lock in these documents for something that pisses me off, but here it's the opposite. Bahamut round 1 for me continues the trend of awesome icon battles. And it's just downright fun to fight as Bahamut keeps you on your toes the entire time. Then there's the Phoenix versus round 2, which is Phoenix versus Bahamut, which was just fun and was a triple positive. In total contrast to the fight with Ifrit, you know. And then, of course, Phoenix teaming up with Ifrit for the final round was just epicness. Oh, and then there's a 4th round in space, which was also another triple positive. Good lord, that fight was awesome. Then there's Sleipnir. He was actually kind of fun to fight. I liked the Aurum Giant. I liked the entire Barnabas Odin encounter. The entire Odin encounter was just awesome, and that was a triple positive. Now we get into the DLCs. Despite my irritations with it, I did actually like fighting Omega. He was brutal, but the checkpoints actually helped out. So, good stuff. I also liked fighting the Tomberry King. Go figure. And that's it for the DLCs, honestly. Now we get into the final battle. I liked Ultima Round 2. That was pretty damn cathartic. Ultima Round 3, aka Ultima Risen, isn't the best icon battle in the game, that being Bahamut for me. But it is one of the best fights in the game and easily is a triple positive. And then there's the final round, Ultimalius, which is a great fight and feels like this is where the game decided to place the difficulty of this fight, with each of the icon power sets coming into play, being the mwah of this epic finish, which also led to the outro being a triple positive. Yes, and yes, the fight with Ultima, it just cemented this triple positive for me. Hell yeah. Also, good new game plus is always a plus. Also, the Final Fantasy mode with everything I read up on it, yes. Yes. And I do feel like there's some good viscerality, so I ended up giving that on the visuals. 113 positives. But we only have a plus 19 to gameplay, so you know what that means. We got 94 negatives to get through. Let's get through it. The tutorials are informative, but there's a lot of no shit ones that just kind of piss me off and just kind of irritate me. So, yeah. Yeah. Just, ugh, you know? Alright. So, I don't like the world map. It ended up getting a negative, and the lack of a mini-map ended up being a triple negative. You can call these ones petty if you want, but yeah, no, the mini-map thing just really pissed me off, and it pissed me off consistently, so, yeah. And then there's the fact that the map that you can call on and with the touchpad is only available when it feels like it. So that was a triple negative in and of itself. The design of the map system was just ridiculous, and 7 negatives. Ugh, so bad. Then the visual distinction was a triple negative, because seriously, I got lost way too fucking much. Which all of the above also de-incentivizes exploring, which pisses me off because it annoys me in an FF because all previous FFs basically had some kind of treasure you could discover. You know, to take that away is just what the fuck. Which is also not helped by the fact that traversal is so damn boring in this game. I mean, on foot, though. But even so, even after you get the chocobo, it's kind of boring. So it's like, yeah. Which is also not help that not only is it a side quest for unlocking the ability to ride a chocobo, a series staple, but it isn't available until about a third of the game. A third of the way through the game. Shameful, if you ask me. Also, why is chocobo riding locked behind a side quest to begin with? MSQ, sure, but side quest? No. Just no. There is some annoying audio spam, and it ended up pissing me off to a triple negative. I really don't like the menu interface in this one. It feels clunky, and it feels like they wanted to put it on PC. Only for the PC version, for it to be PS5 exclusive for 14 months. Whoops. I hate the encounter design. It feels like you're fighting the same trash mobs over and over and over again. Then there's the sheer number of trash mobs, which is effectively the encounter rate, was being a triple negative. And I gave a triple negative for enemy variety, because Jesus Christ, the enemy variety is so lacking. Also, I gave a triple negative for the large brute fetish this game has, because Jesus Christ, this game, lay off the frickin' number of brutes. Then there's the fact that trash and bosses have way too much HP. The bosses it didn't piss me off as much, but the trash mobs were just like, what the fuck? I should be mowing you guys down in seconds. You know? Even if I'm not doing any of the fancy shit, you know? Also, I hate the lack of damage that you do. That ended up being a triple negative. Which also led to some obnoxious padding, which was a triple negative. And then there's the pacing, which is so damn stretched out that it just, yeah, that's a triple negative. Then there's the white nature, the white noise nature of the side quests, as for another triple negative. Then there's the game's obsession with the frickin' stagger mechanic, because it basically wants you to stagger every enemy in the game, which is just, triple negative there. I hated the boss design. That was another triple negative. It's always dodge the attacks, stagger them, do as much damage as you can. Then there's the hunts being boring. No treasure for you rearing its ugly head again. Ugh. I really hate the itemization this time, so that was a triple negative. I gave the aesthetics a negative, or to be more accurate, the color palette got a negative. I don't find the overworld design very good. Bahamut is fun as a class, but I find him annoying to control, and he feels clunky to me. And while not rampant, there are times where the game is heavily railroaded. Then there's the fact that everybody will disagree with me. I hate fighting the Infernal Shadow. I find him cheap. I find him irritating. Fuck that fight. Triple negative. Also, the Akashic Dragon King eat my ass with his wonky hitbox, high damage, and insane HP. Then there's the one that everybody and their dog is going to disagree with me on. Hugo. Fucking Hugo. I almost quit the game at this point. Like, I literally physically threw my fucking controller. That's how angry I was at this fucking fight. Right. And this might end up being the most negatives I give any boss fight ever. But I did back down on a couple of them, so the fight itself is sluggy and downright cheap at times. So this part was only a single negative because, meh. Then there's his biased as fuck dodging, which feels biased as fuck for a triple negative. Oh yeah, and by the way, he's the only enemy where I felt like the dodging was that fucking wonky, by the way. Then there's the Hugo's hide in the terrain move, which I swear to God is impossible to dodge. Edge. And yeah, no, that was just crap. Then there's the multi-round encounter in Waloed on your way to Ultima, which is just awful. The first 3 rounds are fine, but round 4 has the irritating big guy who never flinches and has cheap-ass attacks that are stupidly powerful. Also, the checkpoint is at the beginning of round 1, so you can see my frustration. I liked the Behemoth fight. I would have liked the Behemoth fight if he didn't fucking cheat at the end. And then there's the end game gameplay story segregation, which was a triple negative. And then there's the fact that this is where the DLC becomes available. So let's get into my problems with the DLC on the gameplay some more, shall we? So Ambrosia's use is locked behind another side quest, as if you weren't in the DLC. Why? Then there's the second round against Leviathan, which just sucked in my opinion. Annoying attacks, and it's just not a fun fight, so 2 negatives there. Then there's Troubled Waters. Fucking Troubled Waters. So, DPS race that if you lose, it's an instant game over. Yeah, not a fan of those. Then there's round 3, which in general is just long, drawn out, and just 2 negatives. Then there's round 4, aka the water spout phase, is as I like to call it. First, Master Spout itself is annoying to dodge, and then there's the bullshit of Angry Seas, which is just unfair bullshit to the extreme. With how damn hard it is to dodge. So that was a triple negative as well. I also gave Ultima Prime Round 1 a negative for being a glorified cutscene. That was quite a bit, but I got through it. That's Final Fantasy XVI, a game I will never touch again because I have no desire to ever play it again. I don't find it to be very compelling. I don't find it to be very interesting. I hate the world. The gameplay is good, but I just feel like the Final Fantasy has had better. Before and since. Hence, you know. No, wait, 16 came out after Remake. Okay, it definitely has better before. I feel like it might, and if Reunion lives up to the hype, we will have seen better since. But regardless, I am still in the midst of going through that, so we will see how that all shapes up next time. The next rating video, ooh, that's going to be a doozy because that's going to be the audited rating video for FF7 proper. But for this rating video, I am done. So, until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one. Later. What song am I even listening to? Ah, the truth behind the tragedy. Fitting.